So who had this bell?
Donnie?
Well, when I retired,
Yeah.
then Donnie gave it to me.
Oh wow.
So I had it here for I don't know how many years.
Oh wow.
And then I thought, you know what's going to have, that should go, and it should be at the community center, or it should be somewhere where the community had access to it. It shouldn't be in my house.
Right.
So evidently I gave it to Mary.
Up at the rec center, there's those glass.
Well, that's where I thought she would
Yeah.
put it, but she didn't.
Yeah.
She kept it, so that's all.
Oh, you gave it to Mary?
Yeah.
Well, now if we were to step backwards, hello everybody. I just thought it'd be a good way to kind of pretend that we were into deep conversation there. But it's so right now I am sitting with, I'm going to say Mrs. Kerr, Mrs. Doak, and Mrs. Leslie, Marg, Donna, Beatrice, and you guys were the elementary school teachers at the Loggieville Elementary School. We'll get into the specifics of it. And I thought it'd be a great idea, Miramichi, and specifically the Loggieville community in the Miramichi, to sit down and talk to you guys about the school experience. And we're in Mrs. Doak's house, and I've been thinking about this school for many years since. Our friend Mr. McCullum's an elementary school teacher in the Miramichi area and has been for years. I have been teaching in the elementary schools over the past 6 months as a supply teacher as I move back into the Miramichi and find my roots. But this is the bell from the Loggieville Elementary School. Well, and I remember.
Now we did have an electric bell,
Yes.
but they have in all the other schools.
Yes.
But it wasn't used in
Never
our
was
school.
used.
Yeah.
It was only rang once that I can remember, and Francis rang it.
Oh, did she?
Oh well. Well, I remember very vividly. And then so the other teacher that was in that school, it was a 4-classroom school, 6 grades. Mr. Donnie Ross, and he passed away probably less than a decade ago, I'm guessing.
Oh,
yeah.
no, 2.5 years.
Oh, 2.5 years
Yeah,
ago.
he was 10 days, I think, after John.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
Oh, so was that recent?
That
Yes,
recent.
yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that, Mr. Ross. And then you guys had like let's get to the. Do you guys remember the opening of that school? Do you guys
No,
remember
it
the
was
year?
open. I was
No.
the first one there of this street,
Yes.
and I went in '64.
At that little.
No, you must have been there before that, though. You taught there before that, and then you went to Napa and then came back, didn't you? Because
No,
I was
Scott
there
was-
before
Scott
'64.
was born in October of '63, and they called me in '64.
Oh yes, okay, '64.
And
Right.
there was a
right.
military wife here teaching grade 2, and they said if she could get her own. At that time, the schools were all under the single
School board.
Parker and.
Yeah.
Yes, the local school board.
Yes.
Yes.
And if she could find her own supply
Yeah.
to teach for that next 2 months,
Yeah.
she could go with her husband when he was transferred. If not, she had to stay. So Mark Sweezy called me to see if I would go, and I wasn't planning to go back until the fall. So I said yes, I would go, and I came in, and that was in the spring of '64.
Oh wow, so you started in the spring of '64 at Loggieville. So where we're sitting right now, the river is behind me to the north, Napan is that way to the south,
Yeah.
and if I point this way, I could probably take a 7-iron and hit where the school was.
That's right.
From right here. It's
Yes.
right across the street,
Mhm.
and I'd have to
Yep.
go over Logan's house, and we'd be right in the school
Right in
grounds
school
there.
here.
And now that school got tore down. So you began in '64 at the Loggieville School.
Mhm.
Was it grade 1 to 6, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was always,
Mary Kelly was there.
yeah,
Francis Gordon.
yeah.
And then the next, and Judy. No, Judy wasn't there that year.
Was Donnie there at that time?
No.
No?
It was Mary Russell.
Oh,
Mary
wow.
Russell was the principal.
How old would you have been at that time? Like when you began your
64,
career?
I was born in '40, so I would be
24.
24.
Oh wow.
And I taught Leon Como.
Oh yeah, my uncle.
And he used to play the guitar on Friday afternoon, and had a great time.
Well, he used to dress up as Elvis and walk down the stairs of her house.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when did you? So who was next after
I
Mrs.
came in
Leslie?
'66.
You came in '66. Oh wow.
And are you?
I came in 69.
Oh wow.
69.
Yeah, it was
Mary Kelly.
Judy and B and Mary Kelly and I. Yes.
Yeah. Did you come the same year as Judy did?
No, Judy was there the year before me.
So she must have came the next year then.
Mhm.
Mary went to the airport. Mary Russell went to the airport.
Okay.
And Judy must have, she took
She
on the
must have,
principalship,
yeah.
but against her chagrin, she wasn't really happy.
Because
to do that.
when I came, I was to have grade 3 and 4.
Mhm.
We had
Whatever.
we had single grades in those days.
No, I was to have, and Judy was principal, and they had promised her only 1 grade.
Mhm.
But when I went there, and that was that downstairs classroom that you ended up in,
Mhm.
there were too many children for the
For
classroom
the contract.
with the double grade.
Mhm.
There wasn't even enough desks for them; they were on the floor. And so Judy, I don't know whether she took part of them or she ended up with the double grade or what happened. But then I only had grade
3 and part of 4. I had
No,
grade
I-
2.
I had grade 1.
Mary Kelly must have
Did you
grade
always
Mary
have
Kelly
grade
had
one?
grade 1,
Then
you
I
had
had
grade 2,
1 and
and I had
2.
grade 3. But that would be 4 and 5. But there was grade 6. Grade 6 was there.
Well,
Are you sure? I don't
Grade
think
six
grade
went
6
up-
was there.
they went up
I
to
think
the
grade
other
6
school,
was
I
up
think,
about
about that
that
time.
Maybe,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
that's the
Yes.
time that they did
Yeah.
go up. So she had 4 and 5,
And for
and she had Kenny Lockerbie.
Oh yes, I remember. Yes, she did.
Yes, she
oh,
did.
the first mini egg
No,
went
I
to
had
Mrs.
one.
Leslie. Oh,
I
you
had
had one
one.
already? For those, if
Wait,
anybody,
yes, I had
if
lots
anybody's actually watching this that is not from the Miramichi, what we just had happen here is something that happens on almost every dinner table, lunch table, breakfast table, tea table. People start talking about who was who and who's, and we do that on the river. Okay, so, and which is wonderful that you guys have these great memories. So in the 60s, you guys got there. When did you guys, because I remember it, I was probably a student at that school in 1982. I would have been grade 1. And then so I had Mrs. Kerr for grade 1 and grade 2. I had Mrs. Doak for grade 3. I went down to Mrs. Leslie. I had Mrs. Leslie for grade 4 and 5, and then I had Mr. Ross for grade 6. So I was in your room for 2 years. When did you guys settle into that?
Marty had 1 and part of 2, I had part of 2
Yeah.
and 3. There was
Yes.
1 year I had part of 2, all of 3, and part of 4.
Oh wow.
My God.
Yes, because it just
It's the
depended
way
on the numbers.
The
Oh,
numbers.
okay.
You had to fit them in the contract, and
Yeah,
that's
so
the
they
way
had
it
to
went.
fit them in.
Okay, but when did you guys settle into your rooms? Like, how long were you in your room for that I know of? Like, did you guys
Gosh.
like 30 years?
I was in the
No.
room. I was in the room that you were at from
Yes.
70. Let me see. Now Kathy was born in 74.
Yeah.
I was in the room from 75 to 95.
Oh wow, 20 years. And what about you?
Downstairs?
Mhm.
I was in downstairs in the room
Same
that he
room
was
as I
in.
am.
Okay.
I was down there for I don't know how many years. From there, I went up to the other school,
Mhm.
and I taught up there.
Okay.
Yeah, I closed both of them.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
My claim to fame.
Yeah.
For 2 years,
Uh-huh.
and then when I came back down, I was upstairs.
To the east.
Yep, in the room that
Yep.
B,
Mhm.
and then I was out in the portable.
Oh.
Oh yes, that's right.
Oh yeah, we had a
yes.
portable. That's
Mhm.
right.
And then when I was back in, Margie,
I was always in the classroom.
you
I
were
had-
always in the classroom.
That was Mary.
I ended
Grade
up
one.
in the classroom that Margie was in,
Right.
because I ended up with 1 and 2.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Over there.
Well, what's another beautiful thing about, like, I forget who told me that you guys still met. Somebody told me that. And I was like, and that's when I got to thinking, I was like, it'd be great to sit down and talk to you guys. So I met you guys at Burger King, I don't know, a couple of months ago. And you guys agreed to come here. And so you guys have been meeting, like, so when you guys have been meeting since you guys retired once a month for
No,
coffees?
not
No.
at first, not at
Not at
first.
first.
No.
From the time
I
I
was hit twice
retired.
there. at first.
I don't know whether you and B met before that or not.
No.
We met the first day.
Oh, yes,
Every
the school.
time was
Yes.
the first day of school. We met at a Burger King and sang out to one of the teachers that were going back.
Oh,
You
That
know,
was,
then we went to Tim Hortons. We waved to them
oh,
on their first day back.
right on.
And
So, but you guys were, I've been talking to people, like, you know, in my age bracket since
Mhm.
coming home, about whose phone's that
No
one?
problem, it doesn't matter, I don't look.
Yeah. Okay. And if there is an interruption, everybody, I'm on a supply list.
Yeah.
So if my phone dings, I'm
You
gonna
don't
have to
answer.
I'm
You
gonna
don't
have
answer.
to take a job perhaps.
We'll just put
Yeah.
mine away so that you'll know whether yours dings or not, or whether it's
But
mine.
you guys have had this wonderful connection. I only remember now, although I was a kid, but I do remember you guys were a great team along with Mr. Ross there. But you guys were such a great team for all these years. And so how did a year, like when a school year began, what did the week ahead look like for you guys? Like, was there any preparation were you guys at that school getting things ready, or how did it all work? How did it work back in the
Okay, I'll tell
60s,
you the
70s?
first day. The
Yeah.
first day was a catch-up day.
Okay.
It was very much, it wasn't school.
No,
No.
of course not.
No,
After that, it was pretty
You
well
guys
school.
got into
But
it.
the first day, we
revisited.
we did the you know,
Catch 'em up.
Yeah.
Not that we didn't visit every day.
not that we, no, no, not that it wasn't a daily thing.
Mhm.
And Shannon said the other day, I remember Mrs. Kerr coming down and you going out and you coming in laughing and like, she must have gone with the story about the kids, I imagine. And she remembered them laughing, you know, us coming in kind of grinning. And the milkman and the two milkmen, I saw them a
Yes.
couple of weeks ago.
Clarence and
Yeah,
Jimmy?
Clarence and
Jimmy and
Jimmy.
Clarence.
Clarence
Yes.
and Jimmy, yeah.
Yeah,
Clarence and Jimmy
Clarence, they're part of it.
Conroy.
Clarence
Oh,
is,
wow. You know what? Wow.
And
Clarence
then,
has
then all
Parkinson's
the
now.
hot
Oh,
dog
does he?
days.
The whole
Oh, the hot
dog
dog
days.
days.
Oh, yeah.
Did we have hot dogs when you were in
Oh, here's what I remember of hot
Yes,
dogs.
yes, we
You
had hot dog.
guys, whoever had the notepads, but I remember you guys yelling down hallway, like down the, like I
Oh, yes.
remember you guys yelling
There's no
downstairs to
intercom.
get the hot dog orders.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is Kurt, like, you know. So that's how the communication went.
Yes.
Right.
And you guys had a hallway that was not really used between your classrooms. There was a
Did
door.
We
Did
turned
we
that
ever?
we turned that into a
That
library.
Yes,
became the library.
The door, but there was doors on the south side that
Oh,
you
yes,
guys
there
could
was.
connect.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And then at the front, but that's where you guys checked everybody's heads for lice.
Yes.
Which I was in a school, I'm not going to say which school it was, but I was in a school last week, and then a teacher came to me, he goes, just to let you know, we think there's lice here, so just don't touch any kid.
Oh, you mean you didn't check? You
They
didn't have to check?
I didn't,
lights?
no,
They
but
wouldn't be allowed now, probably.
it ended up not being, it ended up not being lights, but I remember you guys having to do all that, but you guys were so in control, so in command, and it was a different era. So have you, so through the years, from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, you guys must have seen things change even through those decades, but now as you guys look back, as we discussed at Burger King, there's some head shaking going on.
Well,
Very much.
I wouldn't survive. I wouldn't survive in
Me
the
either.
classroom
No, I
today.
don't think we would.
No? Why is that? It's
You'd
just,
have me in court.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Be
you
in
probably,
jail.
but you
Yes, I
probably
would.
would have evolved with the times. But yes, you're right. Like, it's a
No,
very
it was very
different.
hard because
yeah.
it was changing. The last year that I taught, I was at St. Andrews.
Okay.
And I remember one of the things that you weren't supposed to do was say, you sit down.
Oh wow.
No,
Yeah.
No.
mind you, I did.
Yes.
Probably said
We
this
were
and
really
that.
lucky in Loggieville. We had no
Yes.
outside influences
None.
coming in on
And
a daily
had
basis.
wonderful,
Right.
wonderful
No, but
parents.
And the
Only
parents, was the
It
parents.
was the parents.
The
Yeah.
parents
And
was the support.
the Forest Corner, they
Right.
wanted to get, and they delivered those kids, but we had no outside
None.
kids coming in with all these new
Oh right.
ideas.
It
There
was
was a,
it was a Loggieville
It was-
community.
it was-
Only
Loggieville
outside
community.
kids we had were Julie Richard's kids and yours.
Yes.
Oh right. So
and Stein's.
Oh, yes, the Stein's
Jeff
kids.
Steinmetz and Ricky.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right. I forgot.
I
about that.
was talking to Jeff not long ago. He's married to Aaron Weeks, so they go up to Frankie's old house there sometimes. We call him
Okay.
Zim. We call him his nickname since high school has been Zim, Z-I-M, and he's just a great guy. And he plays
who's that?
music.
Who's that?
Remember
You know,
Jeff Steinmetz?
Stein's. Linda
Linda.
Stein's.
Linda Irving's boys.
Ricky
Oh,
and
Well,
Jeff.
they used to,
yes,
they
yes.
lived next
Yeah.
to Mrs. Wood. I used to drive. They used
Yes,
to drive
yes,
them every.
yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
But
I
Jeff
remember
was
he
always
cute.
a sweet
Yeah, he was
kid.
always
Oh, they were
sweet.
nice
Yeah,
And
he was.
yeah,
Yes.
he was a great athlete.
was,
As
yeah.
as he grew up through the system here, he was a great hockey player, and he plays music, and he's just a great guy all around. I hung
Yeah,
out with
he
him a
was
little
sweet,
bit
yeah.
over the years, and he's a great guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the eras have changed. So the bus would go from, there would be a back road bus, which is Wellington, and then the front road bus, we always called it front and back. Front road is Water Street for you people watching along the river here. And it was just like Loggieville had like the roads connected at the beginning, and it just was kind of like a, and then it just kind of, it's
Yeah.
until the, yeah. So you said you guys never had any outside influences, but parents, you guys never had a deal with any, like the parents were always kind of
Supportive. They were, and they sometimes, and they mightn't see quite eye to eye in the beginning,
Sure.
but usually after
But there was
a
always
little
communication though. There was
Always,
never that there wasn't any
always.
communication.
Always.
Yeah.
with them.
So how did it go? Like if like back in the, I can only remember the 80s, of course, but like back in the 80s, if you guys had to speak to a parent, you just call them up, and that was it. Just
That's it.
okay, you're.
I called him up. I remember calling Stephen Savoy. He was working for the forestry, and I said, "Come on in on your way down."
Yeah.
I said, "Darren, I couldn't. I knew he was smart, but couldn't get him."
Yeah.
And I wasn't telling you because of Karen there, but I
Yeah.
said, but you know.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
he came in,
Yeah. Sure.
and it was just like a meeting you and
Sure.
It was just,
And that's the way it was
there
with
was no
anyone.
much formality or
No.
the form. You know, this
Yeah.
they were being watching everything you said and all that.
Didn't
There
have
was-
to.
There wasn't. No.
No.
And they were always good parents. Really good
Really
parents.
Really,
parents.
and
Really
good, we
parents.
did
Yeah.
have good parents, and they worked with you, and we used to say sometimes to the other teachers, you know, in those bigger schools,
Yeah.
it's all right, we taught all the parents, and they're all scared of us, so.
That's right.
Well, I'm still calling you Mrs. Kerr, Mrs. Doak, and Mrs. Leslie. But there is something psychological about that after you have a teacher, and you just always want to keep that, you know, it's Mrs. or Mr.
No, Shannon is up. She says, "How's Mark and how's Donna?"
Oh,
And
okay.
then she said, and I said, "You don't have to call me Mrs. Lester because at school you did have to."
Yes.
And she said, "I can't do it. I
Yeah.
can't
No,
do it. No,
Yeah.
can't do it, no."
You just want to, to the face.
Yeah.
So, like, in those, like, preparation time at that time, like, what kind of how did it go, like, curriculum-wise? Were you guys given a curriculum
Yes.
through the province?
Mhm.
And you guys had to follow that, like, to a T?
And we had readers. And we had readers.
And we had
spellers.
readers, and we had spellers.
Okay, so, just explain what a reader is.
You don't know what a reader is?
I think,
Well, okay,
no, I'm
okay.
just saying,
The textbook down.
They were
Yeah.
text, they were textbooks.
Yes.
I'm a reader,
There was
I know
the
what a
yin.
reader is.
we went from the gauge,
The gauge,
gauge,
the top
Father,
and
Dick, and Jane. That's
that
Gage.
was gauge, and then we went to 360, which was the GIN 360.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what story I remember from your class? Pork chops and applesauce.
Well, that was
Oh,
that was
yes.
in that was in GIN 360.
Yeah.
And I was talking about that the other night. Yeah, pork chops and applesauce. The kid was working at the grocery store, and he kept putting things in a different order because people, when they get in pork chops, they always wanted applesauce, so we put them together. So I remember that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the gauge that was the curriculum or whatever that came before that
Yeah.
was the Dick and Jane series that we had when we were in grade
yeah.
school.
Yeah.
That's how old that.
That was out by Cop Clark, wasn't it? Wasn't that a Cop Clark? And then they went to. Then they
Might have
went
been.
to. Yeah.
You might be right, B. I thought it was
Yeah.
Gage, but maybe
But
it
it was
wasn't.
no. Yeah, it might have been done. I don't know.
I don't know.
So Gage was just the
But that's
brand
the
name of
company.
it?
No,
the
that was just
company?
the publisher.
Okay.
Just the publisher.
So we'd all get a reader. Was it a series of books through the year?
It built.
Yeah.
But one grade level built on the next grade
Yes, the
level,
next-
so it was
the
a
next-
spiral.
Spiral programs, both the math and the.
And the Dick and Jane
Yes, I
was mostly
remember.
a sight, was mostly or taught like a sight, but there was some sounds and whatever in it, but the
Yeah.
gauge or the GIN 360 was sound.
So you guys so what was the strategy? Like you were the first person to get us. You were grade 1, and so how did it start? You started with letters. And,
No, well, the first 6 weeks
Yes.
of grade 1 was readiness. You know, getting them ready to see
Cut and paste and
Right,
snip
cut
and
and paste and
color them.
And getting the kids comfortable
Pick
in
up
the
your
Yes,
classroom.
yes, yeah.
Pick up your
And
pencil.
seeing, yes, pick up your pencil and show them how to hold a pencil.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what was your strategy with grade 1 kids coming in? Like, did you back in the 80s or 70s, were kids coming in and just knowing to kind of listen and sit down, and it wasn't that rambunctious?
Oh yes, some of them were rambunctious.
Some
Yeah.
were, but they did know that they had to sit
Yeah,
down.
they knew. Yes.
Yeah.
And then after a while, they'd see the rest of the kids.
Right.
They were doing kind of following them.
Right. Was it a challenge for you to be dealing with grade 1 and grade 2? Like, how did you?
Well, you had to keep one class busy while you taught the other one,
Yeah, sure.
and vice versa.
Do you guys remember what time the day began? Was it 8:30 or 8 o'clock or
9 o'clock when we
9
started.
o'clock?
Well,
I
Yeah.
thought it went to 8:30.
It went back to 8:30.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was 9 o'clock, and then there was a work to roll
Thing.
thing, and that's how it got changed
Oh,
to
that's-
the 8:30. I
Yeah.
hated it.
And
I
then
liked 9
recess.
o'clock.
Recess was 10:15.
Quarter after 10.
The
or-
first
or
years,
10,
the
quarter
first
past
years
10.
that I was in Loggieville, the lunch hour was an hour and a half.
Oh yeah.
Went from 12 to 1:30.
You can go home and watch the price.
I
You can go
went
home and
home.
watch the Price is Right.
Yeah.
And
Well,
no,
no, I didn't.
And we didn't go on duty. We never went out duty.
No,
When I first went, there was no duty.
I knew how to do
Because the
duty.
kids went out,
Because-
they went out and they played, and
Not many stayed for dinner.
not many stayed.
No.
Yeah, that's right. You'd all go home.
No.
come
And
home.
I remember when they said from the office, we had to go on duty. We had to be there early in the morning, you had to be there at lunch.
Mhm.
And I was the only one who knew how to do duty. Because I came from Dogtown, you had to do duty then. I know what they meant. And
Well,
we used to do it a week at a
well,
time.
actually, that was one of the things. That was actually one of
Yeah.
the things when we met a month and a half or 2 months ago. Was like you said to me, you're like, "Do you ever remember us being on duty?" And I was like, "Well, I never thought about it, but no, I never." And you're like, "Well, we didn't. We go out there, and you guys basically would look out a window, maybe."
Mhm,
And
sometimes, yes.
but yeah.
When Mary Stewart was in the portable,
All right.
when I was on duty, I often went in and talked to Mary and just watched kids out the window. So they
Right.
pretty much looked
But
after
I think when
themselves.
I went there, we always had duty.
Yes,
We
they
each had,
did,
we
yes.
each had a day.
Okay.
We switched, but when
Yeah.
we first did it, we did it for a
We
week
did
at
a
a
week
time.
at a time.
Mhm.
And then we went back to a day. We'd say like Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. And then, but one time Margie, but I don't know if she got sick or she had an appointment or something. And Donnie said, you go up and look after Margie's kids and I'll do your kids. I thought she'd never come back. There was grade 1.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wasn't used to that.
Oh,
I'm used to
right.
20 minutes, like,
Oh,
putting them to work for 20 minutes. They would go 2 minutes, or maybe
Oh,
not even
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And they were saying, I'm done, I'm Miss Leslie, I'm done. Oh my, I'm so glad when she came back. About an hour and a half or 2 hours it was.
Well, you get used to your days for sure. But another thing that I had mentioned to you guys is like I really do not remember you guys missing days. Like rarely.
Well, we rarely did.
Rarely did. Yeah.
When I retired, I left 195
I
days.
So did
I
I.
did too.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
left
we all did.
195 days.
Yeah.
195.
That's
That's
a
a
year.
year.
That
That's
was
a year.
That's all we could
School year.
accumulate. I
Yeah.
don't know how many we would have had,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
but that's what you were allowed to accumulate.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was it just do you think that was a sign of the times, or was it like I want to get to my position, I want to be around my kids, and I don't want anybody else coming in, kind of thing?
I don't think it was that. So
We
I
had a
don't
great
know.
supply teacher.
We had a great supply
Yeah.
teacher.
Mrs. Cameron.
Yes,
Yeah.
that you didn't have any special plan or anything. Whatever was your
Yes.
plan in your plan book for that day,
Yes.
she came in. She taught exactly what was there, the same way you would have done it yourself.
Yes.
She did the marking. She got the day ready for the next day.
Yeah.
Left you a lesson plan. Why wouldn't we have it?
Yeah. Exactly. So who? I remember Mrs. Cameron, and was there anybody else that ever came?
There must have been.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember anybody.
Not very many.
Not very
No,
many.
not
I
very
remember. I remember. Tracy Ross one time was in my classroom.
But yeah, after she
Teaching?
graduated,
After
she
she
was,
graduated
it wasn't,
from university,
Okay.
it was a really, there was no work.
there was,
wasn't
she didn't
much
have any work,
for them.
or maybe it was after April and she had graduated, so she had, you know.
I don't remember her. I would have been probably.
No, you'd be too old.
Yeah.
You'd be out of, out of the school,
Mhm.
because that wouldn't be long before the school closed.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see now.
Tracy Ross is going to be 55 this year.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
last
you
time I
back
saw
that up.
her.
You back that up 26, 27 years,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then she was getting out of university, so it wouldn't be too many years before I retired. But
Yeah. Last time I saw her, she looked amazing.
she does.
Yes, she
Yeah.
Yes, she
She
does.
was always
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
A beautiful
She's a
girl.
sweet, sweet girl.
She was a lovely,
absolutely.
lovely girl.
She travels a lot. Dick Shannon told me she travels a lot. She and her husband, they don't have any kids, and they both live in Ottawa, and
Yeah.
they travel. They travel a lot.
Yeah, right on.
You know, like 3 and 4 months at a
Uh-huh,
time.
uh-huh.
And well, no, she was good. She was.
But I don't know who else. Did Mary
Joyce,
come up and supply?
Mary,
That's her name.
Kelly.
Mary
I think
Kelly,
she
I
did
think
come
she
up.
did.
She did it.
I don't
a little
remember her.
Yeah.
A little bit, and Miss Gordon supplied.
Yeah.
I don't remember her.
Yeah, well, that'd be before
Yeah.
she was going across the ice.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And
So Mrs. Gordon would walk across the ice
Miss-
from Miss Gordon.
right across, right
Oh right.
over
And
there,
walk
Gordon-
across the
right-
river to school.
yeah,
Yeah.
Gordon's Wharf.
Yeah. Oh,
And
wow.
when the ferry wasn't running and the ice wasn't there, she hiked around Newcastle.
Oh wow.
I
Mhm.
Wow.
But everybody picked her up because everybody knew her.
Yeah.
But that was quite
Yeah,
a trait.
That,
for her.
yes, you're right.
So what were the sizes of the classes? Like what were the what was like a regular class size for you guys? Like were you guys dealing with 30 kids?
Yes.
Yes.
I think my first grade
Uh-huh.
one was 30.
And it was just you, 30 kids,
30 kids.
Uh-huh.
and no help.
No, we didn't need any. We
No.
didn't have the problems that they have today.
I know.
We didn't have any of that.
No, I know. It's now I'm in the school system now, and I'm just taking it in, and I'm enjoying.
Mhm.
There's cute kids and very smart and all that, but it's a very different. It's very
Yeah.
different. There's there's a lot of adults in classrooms now.
I had a a student teacher.
Yeah.
One
Who was
year.
that?
What was her name? Lisa Bagman.
Okay.
And her parents lived down Cliff Lane. Don't remember.
What was her name?
Her name was Lisa Bagnall,
Oh yeah.
but she was married and she lived in Fort McMurray, but she came home to UNB and got her education degree, and that year she lived at home with her her parents and between Fredericton,
Yeah.
and then she wanted to do a practicum in Loggieville, and nobody wanted to have her, so I said, oh yeah, I can have her. I can have her. And it was great because she listened, she followed along, and I had grade 1 and 2 that year, so it was great. So I would say to her, oh now, we would after school, we decide, what the lessons were, and I'd say now, tomorrow you've got grade 1,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna do grade 2, and then we switched. She never stayed with 1. And I think that she went, were you there, Bea?
I wasn't there though. I went back
Okay.
to Napan. They offered me a better deal in Napan, so I'm back to Napan, and then I can. Then the
What
next
year
year
was
they
that?
said-
No.
That must have been after I left.
That
Did
was
you-
after you retired.
Yes,
That's why I'm
yes,
asking
yes,
Bea if she was,
yes.
No,
if she
wasn't
was
that
there
year,
when
must have been
Lisa
the next
was
year.
there.
You know who else was a great help at school? It was Joyce.
Joyce Bell.
Joyce
Joyce
LaBelle.
LaBelle,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
She never
Joyce
supplied
LaBelle
for me.
ran the kindergarten,
Kindergarten, yes.
and so a lot of the kids went through her first.
That's right.
Yes.
I actually saw her son Mark today.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
I
great,
had,
yeah.
I had a conversation with Mark
Yeah.
today, and I told him that I was coming down here to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
So and I saw a picture of him in one of these little these classes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
were you guys were always communicating with each other, obviously, and you guys knew every student very well, and you knew all parents, and you knew what students might have needed a little bit of extra help, or even like a sandwich at lunch or something.
Oh,
like
yes,
that.
we should try just.
And the
Yeah.
programs
Just call
like
down
Don
if you got a
said,
sandwich.
they were all spiral. So if I ran into, if I had a kid in grade 4, say, and they couldn't do, or grade 5, they couldn't do the dividing, then I'd run up to Donna after school and say what, that they couldn't do it or whatever. So there was always,
Yeah, we could always
they
connect.
were never stuck.
Yeah.
someone to talk to or to discuss it with or whatever.
Like, were you guys, were certain kids staying after school for extra help sometimes, or wasn't kind of like
Well,
that?
they didn't
Yeah.
stay after school for extra help on their own,
Right.
but if they didn't do it on their time,
Right.
then they certainly stayed
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, well, you could get,
I can remember, Edgar Murray going home yelling out, I was in the East classroom, and I just yelled a window out at him. It's all right, I got Darcy, he'll be home after. He was even at the high school, he was already home and was to the post office and going back, and Darcy was still there.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing to me how well you guys
But that was just to do
remember.
his work, it wasn't that he didn't know how, he did,
Yeah.
he just wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, you guys, so there was hot dog days. Okay, what else was going on there that I can remember?
Hot dog
Donnie
days.
always had lots of sports downstairs.
Oh,
yes,
Yes,
Donnie
yeah,
lots
he
of
looked
sports.
after that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you know what? As a kid that loved sports, I loved it.
Yeah.
And so, for all of you people that don't know, the Loggieville School situated just on the bank of the river here in Loggieville, where Kelly's Auto Glass is, and across from basically the old post office. So anyway, the Loggieville Community Center is where we had to do a lot of our phys ed and gym. And you guys would get us all decked out in our snowsuits, and we'd have to walk through the snow and through the path and through the fields as kids, and that was exercise
Good
and fresh air right
exercise.
there.
That's
Late
right,
run,
yeah.
they'd send a bus down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember a bus ever. I
Yeah, we
remember.
always went and
Yeah.
knocked, we walked.
So we'd walk through the
downstairs.
field, and you guys would take us, and we'd get into the rec center, and
No
Mrs.
trouble.
Corlett was there oftentimes.
She was our
With
phys
the,
ed teacher.
yeah, with the parachute. So Mrs. Corlett, what was her name? Jay. Was she a Joyce too?
No,
Jay.
Grace.
Grace.
Oh, Grace.
Grace.
And then her husband Bob Corlett, who ended up being one of my favorite teachers in high school. I got the brilliance of that. He made us think and remember things. I liked it. And so Mr. Bonnell was the music guy,
Music.
Mhm.
and Mr. Nason was art.
Mhm.
I remember Mr. Bonnell playing the piano and falling off it and getting up.
That's a great
But he was great, with
Oh,
the
yeah.
kids.
Remember
Oh, yeah.
from the bathroom?
Yes.
And then you guys always did Christmas concerts with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys always did Christmas concerts
In
with
the
us.
beginning, when we
Okay.
first went there,
Yeah.
one year the Christmas concert would be in the FD Logie Hall, and the next year the Christmas concert would be down at St. Ambrose Hall,
Oh, I
because
see.
we didn't have any place to have it.
Oh, right. So the rec
So
center wasn't
we
there.
just alternated between the two church halls, and that was
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Worked
And then,
out fine.
but you guys did a lot of work prepping us for that.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
You
yes.
guys would
Oh,
pick the
yeah.
songs
Mhm.
and doing
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, practice in the afternoon or whatever.
So lunches, you guys would bring your own lunch. Did you guys eat lunch together?
Yes,
Always.
Well, some
Except if it's duty.
unless you're on duty.
Yeah. But
Somebody
sometimes the
comes in.
kids downstairs would come up to my classroom and your classroom.
Yeah, but that was the later years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
When we weren't allowed to leave them in the classroom anymore and eat in the kitchen.
Oh,
Because we used to. We just leave the kids to eat their lunch in the classroom, and
Sure.
we ate in the kitchen, and and there wasn't any problems. They
No
didn't
problem,
fight
no.
or they never did anything naughty
No,
or
no.
anything. No.
No.
But then the powers that be decided that they might or something. I don't
yeah.
know.
So it
Donnie
started.
told me that John Lorden told him that John Lorden was the supervisor and he thought that Loggieville could run itself.
Yeah. And I mean, yes, but at the same time, it could run itself because you guys were there. You guys had.
Well, I think he meant there was no
It was no
there
problems.
was no big problems
Yeah.
erupting or discipline or anything much. It was
Yeah,
done
sure.
And there wasn't any animosity in
after
the
the-
staff.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey?
no nitpicking and
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys.
whatever
Yeah,
in the
that's
staff.
right.
There was none
Yeah,
of that.
yeah, no.
You guys were a team.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and it was good. It was the best place to teach.
It
It
really
was.
was.
It was
It
the
Most
best.
really
people thought we had
was
the best place to teach. We didn't tell them.
No.
Well, it's the thing. The thing is, and then the Loggieville kids always had a pretty good reputation when they went into
Oh,
chat.
Yes,
and
they
stuff.
did.
You guys did a great job with us.
They excelled. They did well. We had our share of valedictorians, and
Mm-hmm.
They did. I think if you did a, survey, they probably did as well as
they
any
did.
other.
Sure.
They did
Yeah.
as well as any
Yes.
others.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what else was going on in the community here? You guys were the school, we had a big playground.
Mhm.
I remember one year, I think it was in the 80s, where they brought in and they did all like the log work and
Yeah,
stuff and built
yeah,
that big
there
playground.
was none at first at all.
Yeah.
No,
And then
there was
they
nothing
built
for
the
that at all.
playground.
They
Yeah.
never-
And then we used to take them up skating. The
Yes.
rink.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
oh my gosh, yes.
With all the skates on.
All the
Yeah.
skates
Oh, yeah.
on.
We
Yeah.
went down, I can remember even when I was up in high school, they used to call it, but I mean, went to grade 8, when I was there, it was grade 7.
Oh, the Loggieville,
The
the upper school.
the other
Yeah,
school,
yeah, yeah.
and walking the
That way.
kids down to the rink,
Mm-hmm.
to skate.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah. When you say
And
down the
Stephen
rink,
Ross used to come, I was pregnant for Wendell, and Stephen Ross used to come. I went down, because I had to be there, but I could stay in the shack where it was nice and warm,
yeah.
Yeah.
and Stephen supervised the kids.
So
Oh,
where?
yes, I was
Okay,
there.
where was
Yeah.
the rink? Okay, so I know there was a rink up across from Frankie Ramashaw's house, Diane and Frankie's. There
I
was
don't
one
remember
there.
that.
I don't think it was up that far.
No,
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 there
it
was-
was
was
right
down
where,
here.
it was right where the basketball court
There,
is.
there was
That's
one
where we
there.
went.
Yeah, and I
That's
thought
where
there
we
was
went.
one back there.
I never went back there.
There was one there. There was also one.
But
in
you
the
would know
field.
that because you lived back there.
Yeah, well, there's also like across from where like Frank. It was set up for the community in the 60s.
That's the one I
70s.
remember.
Okay.
There was one there, and then there was also one for a couple of years right in behind the building where Billy Walsh always puts the Happy Valentine's Day to Carla on the on the
But
building
that's
up
another-
there.
It's about time he changed that. There's another one coming up, I think. But
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
had the Merry Christmas one, and but this has nothing to do with school, but it's a funny story.
Yeah, go right
He
ahead.
put up the Halloween one,
Okay.
and he put a witch on a broom with Carla's face on
I
it.
remember
With
that.
Happy Valentine. Happy Halloween.
That cost him big time. He had to buy her one of those expensive vacuum cleaners.
Did you guys teach Billy as a student?
Yes, yes.
Did all of you guys teach Billy?
I
had
supplied
grade
one
3.
year before I and the other school needed teachers, so Parker Manderson came to me, and I think who was it? Francis Murdoch came to my mother-in-law.
Mm.
We had to go down and open school, and I think Billy was in grade 9 then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Talking like that.
Yeah.
this
Oh,
is
I
hard.
am in grade 3.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh well. You guys remember so much.
You remember
Yeah.
certain students,
Yeah.
you know,
He's
they-
a
So
hard
I
one to
remember
forget.
when that's when I came back to
he's
school.
there, he's here
When
all
I
the time.
came back to
Uncle
teach,
him.
Mrs. Kerr was leaving. I remember you called me up and you said if you were going to come back, Kathy was born in '74, and I took the next year off, and I was going to take 2 years, I think. And then you said, if you want to get back in, you better come now because Mrs. Kerr is going to leave. So I called Bill Sweezy up, and I said I don't want to go and have an interview, but he said, oh, I don't think we'd have to,
Interview you.
no. So that's when I came back
Oh,
after
wow.
she was born.
And when I went up to the other school, me and Marg run this one down here.
Right.
Right?
When I went up to the other school,
Yeah.
The other Loggieville school?
yeah, huh?
Okay.
UMB run this
Mhm.
one down here. It was just the 2 years.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. We were must have been.
You said 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Where was Donnie? Donnie went up there too.
Donnie was up there already.
That's right.
Well,
yeah.
then they closed the other school.
Then they closed it. That's when
Yeah,
Donnie
they
came
went
down to
down.
us.
Mhm.
Do you guys remember what year that school was closed at?
76.
76. And then so and that went up to grade 9? Or
No,
Used to
no,
go to,
7.
Used to go to 9.
We used to
Okay.
go to 12. When Wendell taught there,
your brother?
my brother, I think was the high school. He was still the high school.
I think there was a high school.
There was a high school.
And this is
Yeah.
Loggieville, and then so it went to 9 and then 7, and then
Mhm.
you were there, you guys weren't.
No.
And
We
then
were on
so
Roseville.
this school opened in and I see
56?
I see that
I
sign
would
says
say it was in the
56.
I think it was. I think
Yeah.
somebody told me
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
56
Yeah.
maybe.
I would say with that.
And then it closed in
98. No.
97.
Oh, just a minute now. Just a minute. I retired in 98.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that school year would have been, it's so 97, 98, so it closed in 97.
It closed in 97. Well, we have
Yeah, June.
this is
Yeah,
95.
but, yeah, but if I knew which box mine was in,
Yep.
it would have the date on it.
Okay, so Mikey, hey Mikey, which camera's pointing at us? This one? This one?
Yep.
So how does that look?
Good.
So that is 1995 class from Loggieville. 2 years later was the last year. And you know what? One of the things my mom, for a couple of years, would want to get me and my two sisters, Lana and Vicky, and she said, I want to get you guys to go down in front of that school to get a photo. And we kept brushing it off, and all of a sudden it got tore down. So I always regret that.
Yeah.
And, wow. So
We
that,
had a home in school when those were taken.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mark and I were doing we were cooking the hot dogs in our classrooms and teaching at the same time.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I can remember Margie Cummel came and she said, no, we're coming to help. And I was saying, oh, no, we're fine. We don't need any help. We can do this. And she, I don't know if she organized it or what. But that's when they started coming
Yeah,
and
the
cooking.
parents
That was
were
great, Janine.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden we had a
Great,
home.
eh?
We had a home in school.
Can
Yeah.
you see that one,
Like
Mikey?
that.
So for anybody on the old Miramichi, I'll point the one kid out here. There he is, folks. Rock McDonald, who's just not far. He grew up not far from here, so I saw him not too long ago. And there's the teachers up here. That's Donnie. Can you see that pretty good?
Mhm.
There's Mr. Donnie
Rock,
Ross,
Fallen Rock.
Mrs. Doak.
Brian.
I don't. So there's Joyce LaBelle. I don't see Leslie or Kerr in this picture.
His to be.
What year is it?
95.
That must be in it. That's the year I
Oh,
retired.
no, I was 94.
Mark wasn't
Okay.
there, but B would be there.
I don't see B in this picture. That's not you, is it?
He'd be in the back.
Yes, yeah. That's
Is it?
it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry about
that's
that.
it, yeah.
Right here. God, that school, eh? Lots of memories there. The teeter-totters were to the west of it. And do you guys remember any, like, injuries in the play? Like the odd broken bone? Like nothing big, nothing big happened?
The only one that I remember was I was home and Frances was in supplying for me and she come down over that high bank onto the
Oh, Frances herself.
and
Yes,
broke
yes, yes.
her
I remember
ankle
that.
bone.
Yes, yeah. Frances herself.
Do you remember the year of that? Because I was almost going to bullshit you and say I remember it.
No, I don't remember the year. I just remember.
Yeah, because something tells me I remember that, but maybe I'm just making that up in my own
Yeah,
head.
no, I remember that. She was laid up.
Yeah.
For a while,
yeah.
for a long
Well,
time.
here's another one I'm going to show the crowd. Mikey, how does this one look? Can you see that? Anyway, young guy, there was a family that lived here. Father Roy, Mother Wendy. The oldest kid was Peter. This is Gary. He was second in line. Then came Philip and Carolyn. Anyway, Gary McDonald, very capable. He's done very well. When I was driving across America a couple years ago, I got in touch with him. He's in Utah, Salt Lake City, multi-million-dollar operation going on. He's a metal fabricator. But Mrs. Leslie brought this today. So Gary, I'm going to get in touch with you, and I'm going to tell you. But this is a spoon that you made for
For stirring pickles.
Mrs. Leslie stirring pickles. He was in grade 4 or 5 or something like that. Grade
Probably
4.
four.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you had the grade 4s. And Gary was always doing stuff as he did, because I hung out up there all the time. And he was building things and chairs when he was he was selling Adirondack chairs when he was in grade 6 or whatever. I remember.
They were nice kids.
Yeah.
Oh, they were great kids.
Yeah.
So that, and Peter's in Alaska, Carolyn's in Alberta, and I think Philip's back and forth between Alberta and Utah. He jumps around and does some things. But you guys remember so many students. So did you remember who was in your first class? Like some student names at Loggieville here, this school over here?
I don't know if Billy was the first class or not.
Billy Walsh?
Oh, I remember the first class because Geraldine was in that class.
Well, yeah, but I
Geraldine.
don't get that
Carolyn,
benchmark.
Oh, your daughter.
Yeah.
So who else would have been in her age group, Loggieville kids?
So
Just
the
wait till I go look.
Sula
I
Britton.
have to go and look.
Okay. Sula
You
Britton.
have all the names?
Sula Britton, Father Blair, Mother Peggy.
Yeah, and let me see now. You have it back that far? Yes.
Oh wow. You know what, I'm looking at 81, 82, grade 1 and 2. I see Angela Murdoch that I recognize. I see Jean-Guy Mallet. I see Mrs. Kerr. I see Beverly Sullivan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I see Timmy Stevens.
Oh, Tim, yeah.
I remember this kid, but I can't remember his name. Who's that guy?
69.
I remember the face.
Lorianne
No,
Kelly,
Yeah,
Amy
yeah.
Savoy,
66.
Fozzie, Brian Gray,
66.
Krista McQueen. Oh, look how
Oh,
cute
yeah.
she looks.
74.
Terry Lynn Gallant.
Yeah, Carolyn.
69,
Randy
Maybe that's
McGrath.
not- that'd be-
68.
Oh,
There's Jeff Steinmetz.
Yes, there he is.
Then
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
Craig
there's mine
McCormick.
right there.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Look,
Angela.
Five
those,
years.
those
Who's
were your
that?
first kids?
Yeah.
That's Angela.
67.
Same clothes. You guys got two photos of Angela Murdoch in here.
Couldn't have been.
It is.
67.
Same
Yeah, it looks the
outfit.
same outfit. As,
Yeah.
But no, that's strange. No, they must have, yeah. Who's that?
That looks like Billy.
Okay, I'd
That's
say.
Craig.
Billy Steinmetz. Billy
Oh,
McCormick. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that look, no, but it's not, 'cause that's Craig. And that's Craig. That's a double haircut. Craig got a haircut, got two
Bobby
pictures. This is
McLean.
my sister
Not Bobby
Lana.
McLean,
Yeah.
that's
Marcia
Bobby Byrne,
Anderson.
isn't it?
Bobby Byrne.
Dawn Marie Kingston. Don't know.
Little guy.
That's another
Debbie
Timmy
McLean,
Stevens.
Janet.
They must have put more in.
Who's that again? Ricky Martin. Danny McGrath.
That's McDougal, Dee Dee.
Angela Perry, Larry.
Yeah, Dee.
Oh, that's Tina McClanagan.
Oh, Tina.
Krista
that's right.
Rashore.
Yeah.
Jonathan Richardson.
Listen,
Jonathan.
Who's that kid?
What? Leonard,
Blonde.
Florence,
Florence.
Richardson.
Sherry Don Walsh. And I don't know.
Oh, that's Sherry Don. What is it?
Yeah.
That's Sherry
Yeah.
Don.
Florence.
Oh, yes, Sherry Don. She didn't change much.
Chris
No.
Ross, Maureen Sweet.
And who's this? This is Jonathan.
Walsh.
Yeah,
Yes.
Jonathan. So this is the
There-
first.
That's my first grade.
So this
one.
is Mrs. Kerr, Mary Kerr, 1971-72.
That's, see, I can't find, I need
Bobby Byrne?
66.
Yes, Bobby Byrne.
Jackie Daphne, Michael
Across Billy Walsh.
Elms. What's that?
Some of them were.
Hal-
Well, I'll tell you what. The cursive, the handwriting back then was on a different level. That has another thing that's kind of.
By the wayside. Who's that? That must have been Air Force people. Michael
Okay.
Elmer.
Buddy
Hallahan and
Michael Hallahan, Michelle Hamilton,
Okay, this
Yes,
is it.
Michelle.
Gregory Irving,
Yeah.
that's your daughter, Geraldine Kerr, Neil LeBritton, Lamberton,
Annette.
Annette Langtang,
Lang.
Sue LeBritton,
Tammy McKnight.
Tammy McNice,
Bobby McLean. Debbie McLean.
yeah,
Janet McLeod. Ricky Martin.
You were in grade 4, so I had to have
Danny
read that
McGirt,
year before.
McGrath.
McGrath,
Lillian.
The next,
It says-
the next
see,
class
it
was
said-
Ann.
It said
Perry.
it says
Yeah.
grade 4.
Larry Shore, like,
And Larry,
yeah.
And I
Leonard.
had Billy Walsh.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, and Florence.
oh, Leonard Rashore,
And Florence Richardson.
Uh,
oh wow,
and
Chris Ross,
Yeah.
Ann
Billy Walsh.
Wrigley.
Maureen
and Carrie
Sweezy and
Willis.
Kevin Walsh.
well, Chrissy Ross is going to
Robert
retire this year as a teacher
Chris
in
Ross.
Mappin
And
Elementary
He didn't start
School.
till late
Who?
either.
And
Oh,
his
Chrissy,
and the
oh,
cameraman
Dennis-
today
Dennis O'Brien.
his classroom's right across
Lisa
from Chrissy
McLean,
Ross.
Kenny
Right
O'Brien,
across the
I
hallway.
never taught Kenny
And then Larry Rashore, I was going for a walk in the woods about a decade ago. He had a bunch of chickadees and squirrels trained to eat out of your hand.
Right. Where does he
See, I
live
never
now?
taught Harold Keller
Same
that I
house he
remember.
grew up in.
Janet,
down
I
there?
remember
Well, he was
Janet.
away for a while.
And then Leonard
Don't
Rashore,
remember
yeah, my
Wayne
sister
Bailey
worked with
and
him
Keith.
as a
I
nurse
didn't
for a
know
long
Keith.
time.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, those are, I didn't teach all these kids
No?
I was.
because some of them had to
Percy
be in
Cummo,
thing.
he must have been a good
Oh,
student.
no, I had
He
Percy.
was probably the smartest kid you guys had. We always make a joke. He does it. Yeah.
What
Oh.
was it?
This
Billy,
is 67.
Billy, yeah, I should have a list with 66 and I can't find
Oh
it.
wow. 1967, Mrs. Dokes, grade 4.
No,
Mrs.
that's
Sobey?
Miss Sobey. It's Miss
That's
Sobey's
Judy.
Okay.
list, but I taught some of the kids that are on that list.
So
Some
Bradford
of them I
Cameron, Brad
didn't.
Cameron,
Brad Cameron
who
I
ended
taught.
up going to Fredericton. His mother was the supply we're talking
Yeah,
about.
uh-huh,
He was a good softball pitcher. He's now in the New Brunswick Softball Hall of Fame as a pitcher. Percy Cummo's actually my godfather, and I'll tell you what, I don't know if you guys know Percy as an adult. He is the best guy you'd ever want to sit. He's so sweet. I love him. He lives out in St. Margaret's now. Kathleen Cromwell, Keith Daly. Is Keith not doing well?
No, he's not doing well.
Oh, poor Keith.
Not
Wayne
bad.
Daly,
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie Flaherty,
I don't remember having Ron
Janet
Flaherty.
Jardine,
Yes, I had Janet.
Harold Kelly, I
Don't
remember.
remember having Harold.
John Langtang, Paula LaBelle
Uh-huh.
was in your
Paula.
class.
Paul and Billy were in
Ken
the class together.
Lockerbie,
Mhm.
Lisa McLean,
Mhm.
Dennis O'Brien, he passed away.
Mhm.
Remember he fell off the bridge
Uh-huh,
Mhm.
uh-huh,
drowned.
uh-huh,
Or Teresa O'Brien,
uh-huh.
Robert Ross,
Yeah,
folks.
Robert.
He's
Robert and
passed
Dennis.
as well, hasn't
Yes,
he?
he did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Uh,
Dennis Murdoch.
Billy Walsh,
Mhm.
Carrie Wilson, is that right?
Yeah, Carrie.
Annie Wrigley and Gary Boutler.
Yeah,
Boutler.
Boutler.
Diane Duguay is a question mark, and Karen Clark is a
Well, I
question
never
mark.
taught Diane.
Oh wow, this is good
But
stuff.
I
I
guys.
taught the next Lucy. When
Lucy
they
Yeah,
came
for
did.
Lucy, yeah.
Oh right,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow.
But all these kids ahead. But I don't know why I don't have the list for
Down memory lane, I'm telling you.
Oh wow.
75 for all that.
We've got to
Come on,
thank.
wet
We're going
now.
to be able to organize these pictures for Mary Ross. Mary Ross dropped off a bunch of pictures. Look at there. There's Tracy. We just talked. I'm talking about Tracy.
No, Tracy,
Yeah.
Tracy and Donnie. I remember when that
Oh, yeah,
fence
the
was all
ball.
green out there.
Mhm.
And there's
Yeah,
Tracy
Tracy.
Ross, Tara Ross, Kelly McCormick, Kelsey,
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 yes.
Lori McGr.
Lori,
um,
the Epsilon.
Absalom. I
Mhm.
spoke to her at Remembrance Day. Is that Micheline McLean?
Let me see.
Looks like Micheline.
No,
No?
that's not Michelin.
Okay,
it's,
so there's Donnie Ross, the coach. Shelley Rashore.
Names are in the back.
Oh,
who is
Tracy.
that? Tracy or Shelley?
Donnie Ross. Shelley Rashore. Doesn't say. They didn't know it. They didn't know it. Sherry.
Oh,
Irving.
no,
Kelly.
Diane.
They didn't.
Yeah.
They
Who
didn't
is
know
it?
it. There's Dee Dee, Sharon Irving. That's Toby, and that's Kelly. And that's Kim Rashore. That's a great
Rashore.
photo. Look at that. So Shelley Rashore, Mel's daughter. I actually, one of the videos I did last year, her daughter was in the Nelson Doyle Dancers.
Oh, yeah.
She was one of the good. She was one of the
I
dancers.
thought Sharon Irving and Shelley Logie were in the same grade.
Donnie, where's Donnie?
Yeah, it seemed like maybe
that's
Shelley
the ball.
wasn't in
Yes,
the-
but that's the ball game. But the
Yeah.
ball
Well,
team.
Shelley played ball.
Yeah.
But
maybe-
I'm just saying this because
Yeah.
Shelley and Sharon were really good friends.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm.
It's amazing how much. Here's a picture of a guy that went on to become, I think, a chemist, Chris Kingston.
Oh yes.
Oh,
He's in
yes,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's, I think there's a formula he invented or something like that. He's at a UBC.
Uh-huh.
He was always a brilliant. So do you guys remember some of the students that were really
Yeah.
high level?
Yeah.
He was one of them, right?
Yes.
Yes,
that was
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Matthew Mott could run the classroom.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Huh?
So his mother was
Matthew
the one
Mott
that.
could run the classroom.
Oh yeah.
He was smart though.
Yeah.
He really
Oh,
was.
yeah.
Oh
was smart.
sure.
There was a lot of smart kids from
Yes,
Loggieville.
you're right. There
Yeah.
was.
And his sister too, Mary Jane's.
Don.
Don.
Don Marie.
Don
Yeah.
married.
She-
Well, I got in touch with Don
Tom
last
married-
year.
Don married Tommy Dawson. I was at
Yeah.
their wedding,
Yeah.
and
Who's
Chris
that
was
one?
there with his son,
Okay.
Oh
Chris
yeah,
who?
yeah. Chris Kingston.
Chris Kingston.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's not Micheline, eh?
I don't know who Micheline is.
Remember
Micheline was
Krista
Krista
McLean?
McLean?
Harry McLean's daughters? Krista
No,
and
I
Micheline.
don't think that's her.
No, I don't
You
think so.
that's her?
No, it's
It's
not.
not.
You know what though?
No,
She
no,
looks
no.
familiar.
But,
You know who this is?
Hmm.
That's Lyle or Carlisle's daughter.
That's who that is.
What was her name
Is it,
again? Remember
you know,
Carlisle
Carlisle
Savoy?
Savoy?
Yeah,
Oh,
Carlisle.
yes.
Rachel, not Rachel, but
Yeah, right. Is it Rachel?
no, that was the grandmother.
The name's not on it.
Rachel Savoy.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is Rachel
Rachel
Savoy.
Savoy.
Okay.
But they didn't call her
Nice.
Rachel, did they? That was her mother. That was her grandmother.
Raquel?
Well,
Raquel.
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 Raquel. That's what they
That
call
was her
her.
name.
You
Yeah,
guys
that's
are
Rachel.
sharp. So what else
Some
went on?
days.
What else went on at the Loggieville
Did we make
school? So I think we covered a lot. We covered how you guys kind of began your careers. We were talking about how important you know what though, when that school left this community, that's that's it, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
Once a school leaves a community,
We always say
it's
that.
basically.
School and then the post
And then the
office.
post office,
And then the church.
and now
Yeah.
fire hall.
But it must.
Fire hall's
Oh,
going to.
is it? When's that happening?
Oh, I think it happened at the last council meeting.
Oh, really?
Really?
Well, all I know is Wendy Logie phoned and she said, "Do you have Rogers?" I said, "Yes." Well, she said, "Are you watching the council meeting?" I said, "Not in this lifetime."
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, Steve had gotten word. He's one of the volunteer firefighters, and he had gotten word that they were closing the fire hall."
Oh.
But-
This could be rumor.
Well, they've been rumor for a long
long
time,
time.
and they're not involved in, the
Yeah.
volunteers aren't getting involved in anything that's
Oh,
going
okay.
on, and they're not getting called to any of the fires or.
So now Johnny
They're just
McKendrick,
using equipment.
so now Johnny McKendrick is not gonna be able to say that he parks his sailboat behind the fire hall. He's
Well,
gonna have to use
Firehouse
a
gonna
different,
be there.
he's gonna, I know, but it's not gonna be, I'm just joking. I had to give a Johnny McKendrick plug in there.
But it is, it's true. When the school was opened, I knew every kid in the village, I knew every parent, I knew who lived in every house.
Yes.
That's right.
And now I don't know my neighbors.
Yeah, I
Well,
know,
I mean,
yeah,
I know they're,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah.
they
It's a
know
good-
them all, but I don't know what their last
They
name
always
is.
said that, once
Yeah.
the school goes out of the community dies.
Yeah.
And it's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the kids. There was one little kid here that didn't go to school here, that one of the little shorts.
Well, Jack Shore's two youngest ones
They
did
went to
not go,
Carrefour,
they went to
and
Carrefour
none of the
both
kids
Oh,
last.
knew him.
Michael,
That was
yeah,
so
Michael and Melissa went
Yeah.
to Carrefour Beausoleil.
Uh-huh.
I ran into Michael not long ago
I
and had
don't
a chat
know,
with him.
I don't
Yeah,
know them
but
at
the
all.
kids didn't
Yeah.
know him like
Yeah,
that, when
that's
they were
right.
going to school, they didn't
Yeah.
know.
Only our little community that
Well,
goes,
that little-
he
yeah.
hung
Yeah,
out with
because
us.
you lived
Yeah.
right there,
Yeah.
that little.
Yeah, that's true. I never even thought about that. Yeah, like there were so many things going on. I remember as a kid, there was, first of all, the generations changed. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the baby, like, you know, the parents that I had at my age bracket, there was lots of young families around at that time at the same time.
Mhm.
So it was, that's the way it was, right?
Yeah.
But I remember like
I don't
parades.
close the door because I feel
Yeah.
the breath.
Yes, yes,
Heard
and
you
they had,
speak
it was
of
alive,
things.
the community was just alive.
Yes, it was. I
Kids had
remember
lots to do here.
parades, sports,
Yeah.
the Mandersons campground.
Yeah.
There was just things going on all the time, right? So you guys must have seen that start to peter out as the years went on, or maybe
Well,
near the
first-
end of your
first-
years.
I had the large classes, and then it went down lower and lower, then we started having double grades.
Yeah.
And we started counting 2 or 3 years ahead in case they were
Yes.
gonna close the school.
Oh, you
Well,
guys
you
were,
know-
you guys were thinking like that.
Always,
yes,
oh,
yeah,
we wrote
we would do
speeches
a
and
couple of
everything.
years
Oh,
before,
yeah?
remember?
Yes, we did. We weren't
Did you guys
supposed
ever
to.
have to go to meetings about that or anything like that?
Well, we went, but we weren't allowed to say anything.
How did they keep you from not saying something there, right?
Well, we did have lots to say, but we didn't say it at the meeting.
Yeah, no,
No,
fair
We were
enough.
told not to.
But don't you remember making the list of who all the
Yes.
little ones were? Like, remember when they were 4 years old?
Murphy
Oh.
kept a
Oh,
list
they
of
had
who
one.
was pregnant and who, when the babies were born.
Yeah,
And
what year
remember
they
when
were going to
Sunshine
school.
was born? And you said, well, what is your name, dear? And he said, kept saying Sunshine.
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys were like getting together and like figuring out that
Oh, yeah.
for your own, yeah. Oh, wow.
So we knew who was coming up.
Yeah,
and-
we know how many were.
Mhm.
And we knew we were in a good position. Like,
Yes.
you know, you wouldn't, they didn't always realize that it was the best for the kids. They always
Yeah.
think bigger is best, but it's not.
But it's not, no.
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 And, yeah, we,
I think it's proven out that these big schools where they bust the kids in from everywhere
Yeah.
is not giving them the best of what?
Yeah.
No.
They're definitely like
They're out of their community.
I can speak for myself as a student that went through you guys. Well, I'm sitting here right now. I got back in touch with you guys. You guys helped raise our community, and when I speak to other people, everybody says the same thing. We all have very fond memories of you
Of that,
guys.
You know, and that's the best part
And
of
of that
it.
school,
That's
we
the
really
best
do.
part
the,
of it.
yeah, and I think they felt when they came to school, they were protected,
Yeah.
it was safe, it
Yeah.
was safe.
Yes.
They knew
It
they were
was.
safe.
Like we were sort of extended mothers.
You guys, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, you guys
Yeah.
were motherly. Like you guys, like I don't remember having my butt waped by any of you guys, but it probably happened.
Some of the
Is
things
it-
I cannot remember doing that except for Al.
Well,
I remember he
oh, I
would wait
remember
till
cracking them
after
with the-
school,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then he would wait.
Oh no,
till
I
after
said.
school, and then he would yell, "Mom, Mom," and that meant come on in and wipe my ass, and he was in grade 1.
Yeah.
But
No,
I don't think he asked Mark to do it.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I'm trying to remember the bathrooms up there.
Mhm.
The
boys
west
were-
was the girls, the
Yeah.
east was the guys. I think.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and then there was, and then downstairs, right below the kitchen and stuff, was that kind of like storage and
Furnace,
stuff?
Yeah, furnace
Furnace
room.
room.
Oh, that was a
Furnace-
furnace
Donnie's
room?
office was a furnace room.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, furnace room. And then there was another little room off of Donnie called it the office.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
but it wasn't really There's pipes and stuff in there, it wasn't set
There
up
was
as a
cupboards,
lounge.
there was cupboards with supplies and there was a
Filing
desk.
cabinets.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
fire cabinets, yeah.
And then the room just had to be, I remember the old like the radiators and the heaters in there.
Yeah.
Were the ceilings like 8 feet like standard or were they higher?
They were
Seemed
high.
higher.
They were
high.
They were
I think
high
they were
ceilings.
high.
They were
Yeah,
high
they were
ceilings.
high.
Yes, they were.
Yes, they were.
Each room had 2 doors.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Hallways had hooks on it, like in
Yes.
between.
Yes.
Where did the grade 1 and 2s have their hooks? Up on the.
Outside the
Outside the
door.
door.
Outside.
It wasn't on that
Or
hallway.
the first there, it was first along the side.
Yeah.
That little narrow.
Where you guys checked for lights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes. So
Two
then we got
purposes.
the idea we wanted a library. So
Okay.
we took the hooks and put them on the outside of
That's right.
Right.
Yes, that's right.
And then you
On
guys
the
changed
chairs.
hooks to the front.
the. Yes.
Yes, yes.
We used, and we
Vaguely
used the
remember.
hallway as library.
I vaguely remember that.
Uh-huh.
What other things can you guys remember, like, happening there? Like, you know, like any, okay, so you had the support of the community, everybody knew you guys, parents always, like, mostly always collaborated with you guys.
Yes.
There was a lot of outdoor activity, as I remember.
Uh-huh.
I do remember that rink being on the other side of Billy Walsh's building for a couple of years. I remember going there. I remember playing ball out in the field with Mr. Ross in the afternoon sometimes. I remember playing monkey bar tag, all of that. Then some people, the girls were playing hopscotch. Oh, just a second. As a supply teacher, this might be a job for tomorrow. I have to. It's a app that's the only reason I got my phone here. My apologies, everybody. Okay, Gretna Green. Ooh, you know what? Can't do it. Can't do it. So Tanya Matheson will not be in school tomorrow, and I'm not taking a kindergarten class. So I'm not
Why
prepped for
not?
that. Just not my.
It's really terrible.
Yeah, it's not my.
It's
not,
really like, you
it's-
know, they're so, I'm just going from that 2-hour experience that I
Yeah.
had.
Oh, did you guys go
And
into
they're
a class?
so dependent on, it's just like, it's really like scary, you get a real panicky feeling, because they're all coming at you. I didn't
I'm
know what
finished,
was
I'm
going on.
finished,
If
I'm
I had
finished.
known the night
Yes.
before, you could have things in your head maybe, but
Yeah.
it's really like,
You know
not
what,
an easy class to go into.
I was actually at Max Aiken, or one of the, I think it was the other day, and then I was in, there was a supply in there that was a retired kindergarten teacher. She's 36 years,
Uh-huh.
and so I'm guessing, you know, I hope if she's watching this, I hope I don't get your age wrong, but, you know, late 60s, maybe early 70s, and she was great, like, and she was cool, and she's back in supplying after 6 years. And so I was helping her get kids' jackets zipped up and
Yes,
stuff. So
yes.
I pretended I was zipping hers up too, and she had a good laugh. But she said, yeah, it's a very different operation. It is.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm not.
Truly is.
I'm just not prepped to go in and handle a kindergarten class. So I don't. Mind you, I've gone to Harcourt and done it, because you know how many kids are in the whole school in Harcourt?
Oh, probably 20,
17.
17.
Not many in Nappin either, eh?
No, Mike's a teacher in Nappin.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and he's
Not
got.
very many in there.
Well, he's got grade 2 and 3.
2 and 3, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Are you
nice.
ready for the number in his class? Are you ready?
8 or so,
7.
7.
Are you gonna edit that
You gotta be kidding.
out? Okay. He's gonna
The
edit
guy
that.
went to
See,
heaven.
there's not enough room for them
Yeah.
to go to.
We can cut
I
that.
know.
I'm teasing.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know,
Okay.
but you know, but also when I go into Nappin, it brings back major memories of my
Well, it is the
experience
same kind of a
Yeah.
school.
and Harcourt and Millerton.
Uh-huh.
I've gone to those 3 schools,
yeah.
and
Yes,
I've gone
yep.
to Miramichi World's different because it was a newer build. But
Oh, yeah.
Harcourt and Nappin bring back some memories.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's cool. It has that old vibe to it.
Well,
Yes.
listen, there's a school in Millerton that's exactly like the one at
Yeah.
our school.
Yeah, well, I've gone out there a few times,
Mhm.
and that's the one I enjoy going to the
Uh-huh.
most.
Well, country kids say.
Yeah, it's country kids.
They're different.
It's a very different vibe, and I've been noticing it. And yeah. So what else was going on in those schools? Like if we, we'll talk for another maybe 10 minutes or something like that, and that gives us like an hour and a half of
Yeah.
conversation. But thank you guys for sitting and doing this. It's been I think it's good for you, but I think it's good for like,
Oh,
there's
yeah,
gonna be some
memory lane.
Loggievillers that are
Yeah.
gonna get to see you guys talking,
That's right.
and they're gonna
Yeah.
really enjoy that for sure.
Yeah.
I know that we really like them.
Yes.
Eh?
And know that we're really like
The only thing with the kids though, I find, is you meet them and they think that because we stay basically, I mean, they recognize us. But after they don't stay the same in grade 5. They're not
Right.
the same in grade 5
Right.
as they are in adults today.
Of
So
course.
they think you should know them.
I know.
Yeah, I
And
know.
unless they say I'm Jamie Cummel,
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
or
Yeah. And you might
Or
recognize
Frankie.
the face, but you can't put the name to it.
Of
I
course.
just
Yeah.
ask them.
There's so
Pretty
many
sad.
kids. You probably do that in 4 years' time. Well, I'm doing it when I'm going into a different class, and then I've been in one class, and like 3 weeks later, I go into the same class,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I have to ask their names again.
Oh,
I
yes,
might
you would.
remember.
That was the hardest part
Yeah.
of teaching for me, was learning the names.
Oh yeah.
Was what?
To learn the names.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always had trouble remembering names. I could remember faces and I knew who they were,
But you
You
could
know,
put the
and
name
then-
on them.
but put the name, mix the names up.
Yeah.
Well, you guys took your job very serious, because I know that you guys took your jobs really, really serious, of course. But the time I met with you guys at Burger King, it was very professional, and you guys remembered details. You guys were very detail oriented, and you guys remembered so much. I was impressed with it, even after
We
all those
enjoyed
years.
what we did.
We did.
We,
Yeah.
you know, I never ever wanted to do anything else.
No.
Right.
No. It was a great school. It was great parents. It was great cooperation. There was nothing. What?
I enjoyed my years in Dogtown, you know,
Yeah.
but I was younger and I was learning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they don't compare to the years in Loggieville.
No.
Right.
And the one you
and
had in
then-
Chatham didn't
and-
compare either.
No, it didn't. It was like, well, this is what the real world's all
World
about.
is.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was.
Uh-huh.
I mean, had nice kids and whatever,
Right.
but you know, you went back to having 29 kids
Yeah.
in
And
a
it was
class.
just not. Yeah. It was.
You know,
So.
even if it was one grade, it wasn't as
I know.
easy.
Mhm.
And to get to know them as well as you did, even if you had 2 grades, you got to know the kids really well and what they could do.
Uh-huh.
And then going back to 29 in 1 grade, it took a long time to get to really, I don't mean their names, I mean to know what they had, what their abilities were and what their weaknesses were and whatever.
And what kind of personalities?
Well, the
they
thing
had.
with Loggieville, once they came in grade 1, everybody knew them.
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
And then the only ones you had to get to know was
The
grade
grade
ones
ones.
coming in,
Yeah.
because everybody knew everybody in the school.
Yeah.
That's
And-
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
There'd be the odd person
Oh,
that
the
moved to the
transfer.
community.
Yes.
Especially with the military kids
Yes.
at first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
And the
on
odd
the
one
whole,
here and there,
they
but-
knew, they knew all the, like,
Yeah.
where the relationships between them, whether they were cousins or uncles or
Uh-huh.
uncles or aunts or
Well, you
whatever.
guys know everybody's parents,
well, we
and you
did.
guys know all the parents as well.
I had the parents, and I had them, and then I had the next generation. I was coming into the third one, so
Oh,
I said
wow.
it's time to quit.
But
Every year.
I don't I just remember you guys being so in control. Like you know, like when you told me to sit down,
Yeah,
Right.
well,
I did, and I was
And we
scared.
expected you to.
Of course, yeah. I know.
Yeah, because they
And
knew
no-
you know what? When you put them over your knee in grade 4 and 5,
Yeah.
it's not the crack they're gonna
Yeah.
get.
It's the embarrassment.
Yes.
And so they didn't want that. They didn't.
No.
They didn't.
Yeah. It
And
was
I remember they'd be coming up and they'd be really big and you'd shove your chair back and they'd be way up here, right? Get over. And they'd be dangling down there, right?
Oh, my
Well, it's a
goodness.
different world.
Crack.
You imagine doing that now?
Holy
Your
no.
face would be all over the newspapers.
Oh,
and we'd
my-
have you.
Beyonce,
Yeah,
you know what?
on the
But they just
CBC.
couldn't,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
They would have been
saying.
better. They'd be better off though if they were more disciplined.
Maybe, I think
I
so.
think. I think.
Absolutely.
I think.
Well,
But the discipline has started
Kids
at
are not-
home.
They're not.
Yeah.
Like the kids are not. They're not. They don't come into this world knowing how to run the country or the house or
Yeah.
anything.
No.
They're being given that to
Yeah.
them and they're not equipped.
And it's far and few between. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not great
No.
kids everywhere.
Oh no.
It's just that
oh, there
society
is.
has changed so much
Much.
that it's a very different expectations,
Mhm.
and people are not really getting out and doing things for themselves. I mentioned to you guys when I met, I had a program out in Vancouver where there was no parents allowed. I had a baseball program where kids would come in that weren't really playing sports, and the name of my program was called Backyard Baseball, No Parents Allowed.
Okay.
And so I did it in a way that I tried to not, you know what I mean, like go back to that era. But you know, out on a playground, and you know what? I was in Bathurst last week. I saw grade 2 kids playing soccer, and I loved it. There was no parents around. They were falling on the ice and rocks everywhere, and snot coming out. And there was no teachers around. It was great.
Yeah.
It was like a throwback. I stood back and I really loved it, watching it happen. Yeah.
But when the kids, I remember when the kids played skip ropes and double dutch and marbles. We all played with them when you were out there on duty, because I played with them.
Sure.
And then when they had to put the marbles away when they came in, or they would end up in my drawer then, and they wouldn't get them to the end of the year. Put their names on them and they give them like at the
See,
end
I
of the
don't
year.
remember you being so stern. I don't remember that. You were.
Well, you probably knew that by the time you I was there a long
You
time.
came from a disciplined home.
Yeah.
Where you were expected to obey what your
Yeah.
parents said.
Mhm.
So when you came to school, you just accepted what
We
we
were the big
said.
plumpers, eh? The big plumpers, eh?
Yes.
Those marbles.
Oh, if they could get a plumper.
Yes.
I remember cleaning the brushes for the chalkboard.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Outside, we'd have a duty to do that.
Yeah.
The what were they called?
Chamois, shake the
A
chamois.
chamois
Sammy.
and and you guys. So the tools that you guys had were just all like. It was like, so did you guys have it broken down where you knew that you had your day broken into like math,
Yes.
language, or you guys knew your, did you
Yes.
guys all do that at the same time?
Pretty well. Pretty well.
So how did it start out? Like, what was the first thing in the morning? Do you guys remember?
We
Math.
Well, I'll tell you.
Math.
First, no.
No, first we
First-
had to do
We said the Our Father.
Father.
Yeah.
We
Read
read the Bible. The Bible,
Mhm.
read the Bible.
Slave.
And sang "O Canada."
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
There's
that
still.
was a curriculum.
Yes.
There we had our curriculum from the province
Yeah.
for our Bible readings.
Okay.
For the,
I don't remember ever having a Bible read to me in school. It might have been out
well,
in the 80s.
if you were here, if you were in class with us,
Okay.
you
In
did.
the 80s?
Well,
it
maybe,
happened?
maybe it was after that then.
Yeah.
No,
Maybe
no.
I was just looking out the window.
Marty, the curriculum was
We weren't paying attention.
it was put out in the 60s. I still have mine.
I still have that Bible that I read at school.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah?
I wonder if there's a date on it.
Oh, yeah?
Good-
If
good
I
look.
put a date on it.
Because we used the Good News for Modern Man as the Bible that we used
Oh, yeah?
because it had modern language in it rather than the old
Right.
Oh, yeah, the modern, yeah.
the these and nines and the rows and the whatevers. And
Well, then story time.
So then you
yes,
did
yes, story time.
Okay,
Yes.
so that was in the morning.
yes,
First thing.
Did we
first
sit at our
thing.
desks or did we get
No,
out into
no,
a
sat
circle
at
or
your
something?
desk.
Sat at your
But
desk.
did you just have story time in the afternoon or
Yes,
story
I
time
had
in the
And
morning?
story
too?
right after roll call. Would you do?
I did it in the afternoon.
No,
Yeah,
I did a story in the morning.
afternoon, but I think maybe in her room, she did it,
Yeah.
maybe both, eh?
So you'd be doing a roll call and you'd get to the M's and you'd say, Craig McCormick, and he'd be like homesick in bed. I remember.
Oh my lord! You remember when Craig and Billy bought the Playboy magazines?
Oh! That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, no, that's good. That's good. That's
Oh,
good.
it was
You know
fun.
what though? And Craig has been an excellent member of the community here in
Yes,
like
he
getting
has.
a rink going and all the
Oh, yeah.
things.
Well, they were all good kids.
Yeah,
They were
he's
all
come
good.
back.
Yeah.
Kids.
Kids.
No, you couldn't ask for better kids. But,
So then, so you guys had so story time. Then did you get the math going in the early, or was that
We always did
afterwards?
math and language arts in the morning, I think.
And then so in between recess, kind of like one
Probably.
before and one
Recess,
after.
Probably.
And then there was lunch, and then after lunch, what did you guys get into? Like, was there social
Did something
studies?
after recess. Wouldn't do math all morning.
No.
I
Oh,
wouldn't.
no.
Just till
No,
recess.
for an
till
hour,
recess.
an
Yeah.
hour and a half.
And then
or
it'd be
something.
science or health or social studies or something in that one.
Uh-huh.
And then you guys must have loved when like you'd send them to the rec center for gym or something. You little.
We
Right.
had to go with us.
We
We had to go
had
Oh,
with
you
us.
had to go.
We had to go.
Oh
with us.
yeah, that's
And then
right.
when they got down to my room, I told them they couldn't go across the hall until they knew the times tables upside down, inside out.
Yeah.
So while they were outside, I put the 12 or 15
Uh-huh.
clocks on the board, and they
Yeah.
had to do the clocks first 10, 15 minutes. They had to. I timed them all, write the names all down, and timed them, and they got a candy on Friday if they had whoever had the most from the bag. Remember the bag was over there? I go on
Yeah.
Thursday night and get a bag of candy. And look, they knew the times tables. I'm telling
I
you.
grabbed it one year with somebody gave me a 5-pound box of chocolates
Yeah,
at Christmas.
yeah.
But no way, I took them to school.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
They were great timetables. They knew their
Yeah,
timetables
yeah,
that day.
yeah.
They got chocolate.
Yeah.
So we did like
Called
one
Ryder.
to 12. right? 12 times 12. Up
Mhm.
to,
Yeah.
okay, so
Uh-huh.
so
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
age were we expected to know 12 by 12?
Grade 5.
Yes,
At the end of grade
Yes.
5.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, grade 5.
They were all introduced in grade
They
3.
couldn't go
Okay.
across the hall until the
Mhm.
nanny's room till they knew the time. I used to tell them that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as if you could stop them.
Wouldn't
So
they-
what kind of
wouldn't they-
strategies were you doing? It was memorization for the most part.
Well, I did assign them, like they'd have like 4 or 5.
Yes.
I always did them isolated, like
Yes.
9 times 7, 8 times 8, like, at 9. And then we did the clocks,
Yeah, I
scribble
remember
them around
that.
there.
I remember
The
that.
time, the 12 on them, and then each one would have to do a different one. Maybe you put 4 on that one and 6
Yes.
on that one and 8 on that one around. And then it was all systems go when you went to time. They ate that up just like, yeah.
I remember
I did
that.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think it's a shame when they can't say that 8 times 7 is 56. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it is. Really.
Or 7 times 8 is 56.
And they go to the store and they can't make change and
And the
all that.
biggest one is they can't write their name.
They can't
Yeah.
write their name, I know.
How are they signing the driver's license?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody must teach them somewhere to do it.
No, it's out. Cursive writing is gone.
Yeah.
Except if you're in French immersion. Alice
Oh,
Yeah,
was
they-
in
they
French
don't
immersion.
teach
still
French,
use it,
they
but they
raise
were
their
using
hand
it
there.
before.
And Sarah learned to write because she was in Mary Stewart's class in grade 3. And Mary taught them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You know what?
Yeah.
When I was teaching in South Korea, I pulled out the cursive writing for those kids,
Uh-huh.
and they loved it.
Sure.
Like they wanted to learn those
Oh,
letters.
yeah.
Well, just looking at this, this is from 1967. It's beautiful penmanship.
The
Yeah.
Donnies?
That's Donnie's not beautiful penmanship. Now, come
Okay.
on.
Well, to
Be
me it
real.
is.
Be real. That's not beautiful penmanship.
What about this? Is that who's
Yeah, that's
that?
not bad at all. That's
Who's
mine.
that?
That's mine. That's mine. I taught when I had to teach it.
Oh, you guys. So you guys can look at that and just know that's Donnie Ross's writing.
Oh,
Yes.
fine.
Oh,
Yeah,
mine.
it's a
Put
different
this up.
world.
Yes, this
Put
is my
this up.
writing.
Yep.
I know, yeah,
Uh-huh.
they you know, I know
Let me
Mark's
see if
writing.
I would know the
Oh, yeah, I know
Charm?
these.
Yeah.
Charm Muirhead?
Muirheads.
Muirhead, yeah.
Charm.
They were military.
I
Yeah.
never. Oh, Julie LaViolette.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kelly Mills. Yeah, no, it's beautiful. I saw. Oh, look at this. Nice R's, Mrs. Stoke. Look at that R.
Mansion.
Isn't that
Oh,
beautiful?
yeah, fancy Nancy, eh?
That's
Nice
in the
L's
East.
and
Look
that,
at
yeah.
that.
Yeah, she was
I
just
think
showing-
the
she was just
R-
showing off.
But I think the R is the star of the show here.
Listen, if I
Actually.
was writing those down, I wasn't trying to show off, it was to get it down
It
there.
was to get it down. So is there any other, like, you know what, I thank you guys for doing this, and it was, I hope that you guys enjoyed going
Oh,
back
yes.
and talking about some stories and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yeah, it
Always.
was nice, it's real nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you guys would like to, that you guys can think of the Loggieville school experience here? That you guys would like
I
to,
don't know, I think we told you most everything.
yeah?
We'll think of it after.
Yeah. But it was again,
Well, we had, the janitors were just like,
Oh,
The
yes.
staff, just like the
Right,
staff.
Yes.
Joe
Joe
McCormick
Joe
and
McCormick and
Joyce.
Joyce.
Joyce,
Yes, they were just like teaching staff, there
Yeah.
was no difference between
No
that.
difference.
Yeah. And you know what, a lot of the times, the schools I go to now, that hasn't changed.
That's good.
Janitors or custodians, they're part of the
And they
scene.
should be.
Of course,
It
Yeah.
should be.
of course,
Mm-hmm.
of course. Well, that's one of the things I said, if I get my own classroom in the years to come,
Mhm.
one of the things that I will institute right from day one is the kids cleaning up the classroom. Like it
Keep your
would,
space,
And they
keep your
should.
space.
of course, that would be one of my things that I would,
Pick
that-
up
yeah,
after themselves.
Yeah.
of course.
Mhm.
Of course. Yeah, the
Yeah.
staff, and then who else was involved? Okay, so I think we got everybody. We got you three, Donnie Ross, Joyce LaBelle, Mrs. Cameron, Mr. Bennell, Mr. Nason, Mrs. Corlett,
French
And there was
teachers.
a French
Mrs.
teacher.
Oh, Madame Hackett Stewart.
Yes.
We mentioned her.
Yes.
She was lovely.
Yeah, Pat
Yeah.
Palat was here.
I don't remember.
Pat, Pat.
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 I don't
Yeah,
remember.
Connie.
She called me this afternoon.
Did
Oh.
she?
Yes, we talked
I
for
did,
2
I was thinking of
hours.
her the other day.
My
I don't remember her.
She
That was
did, she
before
gave
my
up
time.
driving, she sold her car,
Get out.
she was very hard to follow.
Cut that.
Some things I could follow, but then when she got into her mother's, I didn't know much about them.
For lots.
And, but she knows herself, like she said, B, I can't think of the word now, I'm gonna tell you about it, and then you can tell me the word, and I did.
Was
And I
she
couldn't-
was she a teacher, a French teacher?
Oh, she was here for quite a few
Yeah.
years.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It was before me.
And the first kindergarten teacher, Susan.
Susan
Susan.
Wood.
Susan Wood.
Oh, I
Okay,
don't
she's
know
in, no, look, she's down in
She's
Rexton.
over in Harcourt, isn't
Oh,
she?
You
yeah.
know, she's in Rexton and she's
Or
married.
Rexton.
She
She's married,
married one of the bus drivers, one of the
Okay.
school bus drivers. She had one daughter.
Uh-huh.
We broke her in. We broke
Yeah,
her.
mine
Oh,
is.
right on.
Yeah.
And every once in a while I see Susan.
And Judy,
Oh, yeah.
Judy Foran was here. Connie was here at Top French for 1 year or a couple
Connie.
years.
Yes, you're
Connie
Connie.
Daly, my
Yes.
daughter.
Oh,
Yes.
And
That's right.
yeah,
Who else
Oh,
was
you
around?
know, the music teacher.
Dave Bonnell.
No, before Dave. From
Oh,
Newcastle.
Kay.
Kay.
Okay.
yeah.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Kay
You know
Doucette.
which Kay was
No.
there?
No,
Don't
no,
remember
no,
Kay.
you
The
didn't.
Donna wasn't either. Was she?
Yes, I was there.
You were there.
Kay Doucette.
Oh my
What did
goodness.
she do? Like, what was her scene?
I don't know, I just remember Mark.
She was we played jokes on her too.
Yes.
And I remember
Yes.
And I remember
The
going down
chimney.
to, when her husband died, and I went down to with a wake. It was in Riverview,
Yes.
and was she ever happy? Because it brought back. It
Yeah.
was a
To
sad
see
time
you,
for
yeah,
her,
to
but
see
you.
she
Well,
We went one time
yes,
at
we
a
went
conference. We had a
Yes,
conference.
down
You
Mountain,
saw her?
and we saw her, and it was the
We
day
went
they
knocked
caught.
on her door
it
and
was
she
the
was
day-
giving a session.
It was the day. Listen, it was the
They
day
caught-
that Alan was
yeah, Todd
here.
Allen was
broke
here.
out of
Oh, wow.
Yes,
the house.
And,
The
and
hospital.
she was giving a session. We went knocked on her door
I know
and
we
told
was-
us a foolish story.
What did we do with her purse that time? Something about an old banana and stuff in her purse and it all rotted and everything.
I don't
So
know,
she was
something
coming-
I
Margaret's
had a
purse-
white purse. The kids wrote on it, and she couldn't believe that I was still using
Yes,
it.
that's right. But there was something about
That
the
would have been a
banana
good
in the
relic to
purse.
bring in.
Oh my god, it was.
So she was the original music teacher. Is there anybody else we're forgetting? Anybody else that used to come in maybe to help you guys? I think that's pretty much it, eh?
Okay.
Yeah.
We'd have to go down to the post office, Ricky's store. Do you guys remember the time that Barb got in contact with you guys and there was kids going over and giving Ricky a hard time, then you guys had to come over and give us a talking to? Remember?
I don't remember that, but I remember.
Ricky, though, Ricky wased here very long because he
He only went to grade 1, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mark?
went to grade 1, and
Yeah.
remember he lost his hearing aid one day
Oh.
too.
Yeah.
But no, this is when he had the store. So the
After he
kids,
came back.
so my age were going over and giving them a bit of a hard time, some of the kids.
Mhm.
And then there was a big speech given to the whole school.
The whole
Oh,
school.
yeah.
Do you guys remember that?
I remember it.
Yeah, I remember
I
that.
remember that.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
Ricky's
Did-
store was a part of the whole experience?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Did
Ball
it help?
fields.
Did it help?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
everybody went over and apologized.
Yeah.
You know,
I think they were told.
I will say that I didn't do that, but I remember people were like, picking on them because of
Teasing them.
the
Yeah.
deaf. They were covering their mouth or whatever.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
When I
it
first went to
yeah.
Loggieville, we used to give the kids, remember that? We used to give the kids who went day in our store there.
Yes.
They get
Well, we sent them off to Parker's store.
or up to Vera's store.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the kids, we sent the kids to the post office. No,
Sure.
never even thought twice about
Oh,
it.
yeah,
Kids
I
to the
remember.
post office to
Oh,
get
I
the
loved it. I
Yeah.
love being getting sent.
Now
Like, when
you
you guys saying, "Go mail this for me."
Yeah,
right
you
on.
wouldn't dare. You wouldn't dare now, eh?
No.
No way.
No.
No, not even close. It's a
No.
different world.
No, it's a different. Yeah,
Yeah.
you wouldn't dare. It wasn't right though. They could have been killed by a car or something.
Yeah.
We never even thought of it.
No.
No. Well, okay. I'm looking at the clock right now. 8:35. We've been going for almost 2 hours, which was kind of what I thought would happen.
Can you imagine
And-
we talked that long?
Oh, you know what? I think that if you got going through pictures, you go forever. But I thank you guys. I think it would just be a good little community project to honor your careers, which you guys were great at. And like I said, you guys helped raise our whole community. And I'm a kid that does remember it and has very fond memories of y'all for
I
sure.
think most of them do. They seem to.
Absolutely.
When
Oh,
you're
I
meeting.
think so
When
because
you
they,
meet them?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
always.
they always stop and talk and
Yeah.
seem to be glad to see him, whatever.
When I was in the ICU, Joe Ridley was my doctor.
Oh, there you go.
Well, he's one of them.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
And yeah.
It's strange to,
Eh?
it is strange to go to Joe.
Yeah,
Oh,
because-
yeah,
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 because
sure.
yeah.
Well, Dr. Ridley.
Oh, no, he was very
He was
professional.
always a smart kid
Yes,
too.
yes, he was. Yeah, he was,
And
he was
interesting-
extremely smart.
Interesting and was doing interesting things through his family, and that's one of the things I said to a friend of mine that I regret. So I kind of went the other way. Like I used to hang out with him,
Yeah.
and then when I got to junior high, I kind of went the other way, and it's something I always regretted. I was like, why did I? You know what I mean? He was always one of the most interesting, cool people that you could ever meet, And so, yeah, but
There's a
I,
lot of smart kids in the
Oh,
village.
absolutely.
There was a lot of smart kids.
well, okay, Mr. Cameraman, I think we're gonna,
Are you
we're
gonna-
gonna
listen,
snip it right there.
Are you
Thank
going
you.
to have a cup of tea?
No,
Why
I don't
not?
drink
No.
tea at night, Donna.
I could give you decaf.
You know what he never asked? He never asked who your favorite student was because he knew his name wasn't going to come up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now that I couldn't say.
No.
I couldn't.
There was
I
no,
really
there was
no.
I'm sure every year you have your
Yeah.
favorite little kid that's just hilarious or
I
like
don't know.
charming.
You might have had funny.
Yeah.
So funny or
It's like Leon Cummel, I remember, because he brought that guitar on Friday. I used
Yes.
to call it Red
Yeah.
Cross.
How old would he have been?
Grade 5.
Oh, wow.
And
And
we
Gary
used to call it
McDonald,
Red
because he
Cross.
didn't know what he was
There was
going to
no
do.
Red Cross at all.
You know.
And we used to put down on a plan Red Cross. And he
Right.
was playing the guitar real well, like, it
Yeah.
was real nice, and that
Yeah.
was good for him, it was good for us.
Yeah.
About half an hour for
Well, and I was just with the family the other night that was telling me a story of Leon at your house dressed as Elvis.
Oh my God.
Coming down the
Is
stairs.
that thing on?
Yeah. But we're gonna say bye right now. That's it. So thank you guys, and Mrs. Kerr, Mrs. Stoke, Mrs. Leslie. That was great. Thank you guys very much.
Well, it was fun.
Yeah.
Okay.